And Susan, do you think that having just one day to tell people to quit smoking is enough?
Oh, well, is it enough? I think it would be good to tell everybody. But I think it's a really good start, because I think one of the problems is that again, it comes down to, I think that the basic thing is that people are fearful of the discomfort that they're going to experience. And so if you have one day and they can prove to themselves that they can go one day, then they can stretch it out.
Right. And do you think that one day is effective?
I think one day, well, see, I taught differently. My program was 8 weeks, and it was 1 day a week, with the exception of right after the quitting day, and then they came back 48 hours later. But I think people need to look at their habit. So one day, yes, it might work for some people. I was telling Susan before the show started, my ex-mother-in-law quit smoking with a hypnotist, and she went that one day, and she was very, very successful. But she went home with a little tape, though, and she had to play her tape every day, and she was a heavy 2+ pack a day smoker, and she gave them up. So she was mentally ready to give them up.
I talked to some CSUN students and the community about their experiences with trying to quit smoking, and this is what they had to say.
I tried Nicorette, got really sick. The problem with Nicorette and all those other things is they give you too much nicotine, so you might feel a little sick, and if you don't quit effectively, you'll end up smoking more cigarettes, which I am now.
Right now, at least I don't bring cigarettes with me to school so that I can smoke. Compared to if I have cigarette with me, I smoke maybe 4 or 5 cigarettes in school. Now, then I just cut down at least 4 or 5 in a day if I don't bring it to school.
It was easy. I just kind of got sick of it. I don't know, I don't have like an addictive personality. I think that helped. I was just like, okay, I'm done with this. Kind of got old.
I'll quit for today, I'll quit for this morning. And then I would go through that and say, if at the end of that period you want to have a smoke, you can make a new decision. And I would, and finally it just extended to, what is it now, 35 years?
It was really easy. I don't understand when people say that they get addicted to nicotine, or maybe I just don't have an addictive personality, because I was like, no more.
So to address some of the things brought up, Pamela, can the gums make people sick?
It can. Yes, it can. There are some things you can do if you don't, you can take a half a piece of the gum. Most people make the mistake of thinking that you chew on this, where you're supposed to put it in your mouth and under your tongue and just kind of, occasionally chew it, but not chomp on it. You can also get addicted to the gum. I worked with an emergency room physician in upstate New York that quit smoking via the gum and got addicted to the nicotine in the gum. So there are, all these other things, but you have to kind of find your own niche. It can go from, the patch, you can use the patch, you can use anything. Some people do well cold turkey. So, you just have to kind of find your niche.
Okay. And Susan, is there such thing as an addictive personality?
Oh, absolutely. The brain function, brain structure has been found to be different in people who have addictive natures. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and there's a lot of different kinds of anti-smoking campaigns that are making the difference. The Truth campaign, for example, saved $1.9 billion or more in healthcare costs. So Samantha, since you're involved in so many types of events, I'm sure that you hear success stories. What have people expressed to you works best for them?
I've learned that just education, like educating a lot of the young people on campus, has worked, because it's really opened their minds up to the fact that smoking regular cigarettes or smoking light cigarettes doesn't make a difference or lower their risks of cancer, and that hookah isn't any safer. And they've just really, finding out that it's wrong in the first place has led them to make a change.
Okay. And Pamela, working in the medical field, what do you think is the best way to quit smoking?
Set a plan. Number 1, sit down, look at your habit. When you smoke, why you smoke, and start charting first. And then sit down and say, okay, I'm going to do the patch That's fine for addressing my nicotine, and then you have to do something with your hands, the patch, whatever nicotine replacement. But I always recommend taking straws and cutting them in half so that you have a piece of straw in between your finger at first. It makes a big difference, it really does. But you have to have a plan before you get started.
Okay. And you were telling me when we talked before that a lot of people use smoking as an excuse to take a break or kind of...
Yeah, I love your idea of having a plan. I think that's so important. Although with each person, as you say, each person is different. So you don't know what of the three things that you're going to be dealing with is going to sit down in your chair and how you're going to help that person find their way out. I'm sorry, ask me your question again.
Just about how you said that people use taking a break.
Oh yeah, one of the ways that I deal with people is that I try to find out what cigarettes mean to them. What is it that they feel like that they're going to be giving up if they quit smoking? And then what are the benefits for quitting smoking, so you can kind of get those things going in their subconscious mind. And I found far and away what people would say is, it let me take a break. It let me change hats. And so that I began, over the years, I began to realize that was one of the major things that if I could give them that in the hypnosis, a way of taking a break, which once you isolate it, it's pretty easy. Give yourself permission to take a break. And then that helps them a lot.
Okay. And Pamela, what do you think are some methods, if there are any, that aren't effective?
I think any method can be effective if the person is ready for it, that's the method they choose. I taught a class, American lung-based class, and like I said, my class was 8 weeks long, and the people that chose that path, about 25 to 30% were successful 1 year later, still, from giving up cigarettes. Any road, whatever works.
Whatever works for you. And why do you think that some methods work better than others?
Well, I think you have to look at what person each method is working for. If you've got someone who is not a particularly addictive person, perhaps just giving them a way to get over the physical cravings, to wean themselves off, that'll be fine for those people. But for the people who are being driven by habits, habits save us time. Habits save us energy. They're calming in and of themselves, these rituals that we do. So you're suddenly asking someone to give up something that they rely on to calm themselves down anyway. And if anybody doesn't think it's uncomfortable changing a habit, try wearing your watch, on the other hand, for a couple of days, and that will teach you immediately what it's like to change a habit. So it depends on who we're working with, but I really feel that you have to deal with, for most people, you have to deal with all three things. You have to deal with the physical, you have to deal with the habit and the associations, and you have to deal with the comforting, the self-nurturing.
And is quitting smoking affected by your sex or your age, anything like that?
No, I haven't found that to be so, not at all.
So the only reason maybe that it would be harder for someone to quit smoking is if they've been a smoker longer, or?
I don't even know if that has, what seems to make the big difference is when someone is just really sick of smoking, when they were really, the weight of smoking against the weight of quitting, it has to tip enough for the person to say, okay, I'm willing to withstand the discomfort. I'm willing to do whatever it takes.